Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
This week, there's been a kerfuffle in Washington about gas stoves. And it began with a comment by a member of the Consumer Product Safety Commission who said this is a hidden hazard. Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. And the headline over that story, this was a Bloomberg News report, is the U.S. Safety Agency to consider ban on gas stoves amid health fears. And Alicia, amid a lot of outcry, the chairman of the Consumer Product Safety Commission is saying that there is no agenda to do this. I am not looking to ban gas stoves. The CPSC has no proceeding to do so. He added that they are looking at ways to reduce emissions and make indoor air quality better in places that have gas stoves. And Alicia, I wonder what you make of this whole hullabaloo.
Well, first of all, the gas stoves, there have been a number of studies that are incredibly flawed that suggest that gas stoves are responsible for pollutants, particulate matter, NOx, that contribute to childhood asthma. The most robust global study to date done on this in 2013 actually found no connection whatsoever. There is an issue when people use stoves in general, and this isn't necessarily isolated to gas stoves. It's also a problem with electric stoves, is sometimes they just don't turn on their hoods to ventilate their kitchens. And so then you get, a lot of smoke sometimes depending on what you're cooking. Yes, that can potentially cause, public health harms and pollutants. But it's not the gas stoves in themselves that are the problem. The real reasons why the left has been going after gas stoves, and again, this isn't just the Biden administration doing it. A lot of the progressive cities have tried to ban gas appliances and gas hookups in new buildings. No doubt they would try to do them in existing ones too, but that would be too controversial and too expensive. But you see in New York City, San Francisco, Berkeley already ban new gas hookups and appliances. And the reason why is because gas is a fossil fuel. And this is another way of them to try to attack fossil fuels and try to basically abolish them. I think I read one study that was done by Stanford that, the left has been citing that gas stoves leaks, methane leaks. And again, these are really just very small leaks, emit as much CO2 equivalent as 500,000 gas-powered cars. And that's actually a very small number when you consider how many cars are on the roads around the world. And so again, the reason why they're doing is really this is part of their climate war. It has nothing to do with public health or safety.
Alicia mentioned there are states that are also taking action here. One that I would highlight is New York and Governor Kathy Hochul, who gave her State of the State address this week. There's a Politico story that says her plan would prohibit fossil fuel equipment in new construction statewide and include gas stoves with dates of 2025 for small buildings, including single-family homes, and 2028 for larger ones, but it wouldn't apply to existing homes. And then, Kim, there's this amusing quote from somebody with the Department of Environmental Conservation who says, quote, "No one is going to come and take your gas stove, but as you begin making a transition, everyone will have to switch out appliances. In the due course of swaps, what can you do to incentivize shifting from gas into something different?" And so, Kim, I think that's a little bit funny because it's, no, we're not taking your gas stove. We're just not going to let you buy another one.
Yes. Look, as Alicia was just explaining, all of this is such a ruse, okay? They know that people will be outraged, understandably so, if they try to forcibly take away natural gas appliances. And let's remember, too, that, while they're currently talking about cooktops and ranges, there's a lot of other appliances that are run on natural gas. I, for instance, have a natural gas laundry machine and dryer. And so they don't want any of that because they don't want anyone using natural gas because they want to get rid of fossil fuels. But they can't say that, so instead they're going to come out with these kind of bogus safety things that they make up and try to make it sound as though they're really just protecting kids from getting asthma. It's all a bunch of baloney. One of the other things they were trying to suggest is there might be some sort of burn hazard from having natural gas stoves, but anyone who's ever had an electric stovetop knows that they're far more dangerous given that they are so hot for so long after you turn them off. So first of all, they're they're kind of coming up with this. And then they're backing away and saying, well, we won't take it away from you. We'll just make it impossible for you to buy. And I think what really matters here is they acknowledge how unpopular this is and the risk potentially to a backlash to their broader climate agenda. This is why the Consumer Product Safety Commission walked back from this so fast. The White House is practically running from it because, they've very slowly done this with cars, and now they're reaching more, and you're beginning to see some states pushing back on this as well, too. There's been a lot of attention to places like New York, or for instance, Los Angeles City Council recently voted to ban some gas appliances in the construction of new homes. But there are also have been about 20 states that have passed laws prohibiting any of this, basically protecting one's right to continue using one's natural gas appliances. So this is becoming a real battle line out in the country.
My final thought here is that I also think this is fascinating as a media story. Because remember, you have a commissioner at this obscure federal agency saying, maybe we could ban gas stoves. After some outrage, that's immediately walked back. Everybody says it's not going to happen. And now it's being treated as some invented culture war. And here's the top of an Axios story. Despite official insistence that fears of a ban are unfounded, conservatives are suddenly championing gas stoves in a new culture war. And Alicia, am I wrong to think that if the roles were reversed here, a lot of these reporters would never take seriously those Republican assurances? If there were a Republican appointee in a Republican administration at some obscure federal agency who advocated maybe we're considering some unpopular policy, and no matter how quickly everyone else said we don't intend to do that, it would be treated as, to use a cliche that has come up in recent years, it would be treated as saying the quiet part out loud, as if this is really the secret agenda of the whole Republican Party. And I think this is really remarkable to see how this is all playing out in real time.
Right. I mean, if you recall, the Republicans tried to assure Americans, or many governors did, with that if Roe v. Wade were struck down, I mean, they wouldn't be going after their birth control. But you recall the threats or the warnings that, now the Republicans are going to try to ban birth control or, ban interracial marriages. I mean, they're actually the ones who are using the red herrings and scare tactics. But look, the threat of banning gas stove, that's not phantom. I mean, you've seen that, some Democratic cities, and then we mentioned, Hochul, that's exactly what they're doing. And this quote unquote transition, you won't be able to buy new ones. We're seeing this with electric cars. First, they try to subsidize them, and then inevitably they try to ban them. And so it's really the Democrats who are picking this culture war, not the Republicans.
Thank you, Alicia and Kim. Thank you all for listening. You can email us at pwpodcast@wsj.com. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back next week with another edition of Potomac Watch.